London, the 19th of January 2026. The shadow of a constitutional crisis now looms over Westminster as the most carefully controlled institution in Britain reaches its absolute breaking point. You didn't just watch a routine royal transition. You watched a system reach its limit as a hidden document, unearthed from a private safe at Highgrove, threatens to halt Prince William's ascent to the throne. This is King Charles's hidden will, a secret codicil that the palace machine desperately tried to keep in the shadows, but which Prince Harry has now officially confirmed to be true. This wasn't just about a health update or the private wishes of a late king. It was a turning point where the mask finally slipped, revealing that the emotional center of the monarchy has been far more fractured, for far longer, than anyone in power wanted to say out loud. The revelation came just 48 hours ago, when senior auditors of the Duchy of Cornwall discovered a sealed envelope marked with the king's private signet and a specific instruction, to be opened only if the crown faces a crisis of lineage. Inside, a clause of integrity echoes the chilling prophecies Princess Diana once penned in 1996. Prince Harry, speaking from his secure compound, has confirmed that this document validates his mother's darkest fear, that the monarchy would prioritize optics over the human truth of its heirs. For decades, the palace tried to control reality itself, but they couldn't suppress the legacy Charles chose to leave behind in his final months. The discovery has sent shockwaves through the British media, sending the Royal Advisory Council into an emergency session at Clarence House. This wasn't transparency, it was truth dragged out at the last possible moment. As Prince William prepares for a coronation that now feels increasingly shaky, the world is forced to ask, what did Charles see in his final days that terrified him more than bad headlines? If a king has to overrule his entire court just to ensure the truth is told, the institution is facing a test of survival it may not pass. Silence in a family is one thing, but silence in a public institution is another. It is a confession of instability. Tonight, we walk you through the leaks, the fights behind closed doors, and the 94-second confirmation from Harry that has rewritten the monarchy's script forever. We are no longer looking at a fairy tale monarchy. We are looking at a system finally forced to admit it can bleed. London, the 20th of January 2026. Following the discovery at Highgrove, an eerie, calculated silence has descended upon the House of Windsor. You don't just lose sight of a king's true wishes by accident. You hide them when the truth is a threat to the foundation of the throne itself. For weeks, Prince William's official schedule has been a series of unexpected cancellations and unspecified private meetings, fueling a growing sense of panic within the Royal Advisory Council. The palace continues to hide behind the shield of privacy. But as the history of this institution shows, silence in a public institution isn't a right, it is a crisis of transparency. The narrative of everything is fine is being tested like never before. Internal reports suggest that William has ordered a shadow campaign of audits and legal reviews to determine exactly how deep Charles's hidden codicil goes. This isn't just about managing optics, it's about a future king trying to control reality before reality controls him. Sources within the palace, speaking under conditions of absolute anonymity, claim the atmosphere at Kensington Palace is one of managed panic, as the legal validity of the upcoming coronation hangs in the balance. The conflict is no longer just between brothers. It is a battle between the palace machine and the human truth contained in that Highgrove safe. We've watched this pattern in every fragile institution that is more afraid of truth than of scandal, a desperate attempt to hang pretty pictures over a wall that is visibly cracking. William's advisors are reportedly pushing for a total media blackout, using dignity as a shield to avoid the ultimate question. Who knew about this hidden will, and why was it buried? But the gears of the institution are grinding. As we look at the cancelled engagements and the lack of a reassurance photo, the public's trust is reaching a breaking point. They tried to sell the image of a perfect transition, but the discovery of Charles's true intentions has pulled back the curtain, revealing a monarchy that can bleed. If a future king is more concerned with perception management than with the biological and legal integrity of the crown, the crisis has already begun. This silence isn't a routine update. It is a confession of a system reaching its breaking point. The monarchy is finding out, in real time, that you cannot manage a crisis of truth with polished PR lines. The question remains, what exactly is in Charles's hidden will that has forced William into a defensive crouch? London, the 21st of January, 2026. To understand the seismic weight of Charles's hidden will, you have to look back to the summer of 1996, a time when Princess Diana was fighting not just for her freedom, but for the soul of her children's future. Prince Harry's recent confirmation isn't just a modern leak, it is the final piece of a puzzle started 30 years ago. He has officially signaled that the hidden will contains an integrity codicil that mirrors, almost word for word, the warnings Diana left in her own private journals. This is where the coronation of Prince William stops being a ceremony and starts becoming a legal interrogation. Diana's darkest fear was never that her sons would lose their titles. It was that they would lose their humanity to a system that demands perfection over truth. Harry has now confirmed to inner circles that Charles, in his final reflective months, realized his mother, the late Queen, and the men in gray suits had suppressed a fundamental truth about the lineage that now places William's legitimacy under a microscopic lens. The hidden will doesn't just suggest a preference, it mandates a verification of biological and spiritual integrity before the crown can be passed. This is the Diana prophecy come to life. Harry's confirmation has effectively weaponized his mother's legacy against the very institution that tried to silence her. He isn't acting out of spite. He is acting as the executor of a truth that Charles was too burdened to speak while he wore the crown. For the audience watching this unfold, especially those who remember the raw honesty of Diana's 1995 interview, this feels like a cosmic reckoning. The palace tried to bury the emotional volatility of the past, but Charles has ensured that the past is the only thing that can validate the future. The clause of integrity within the will reportedly demands a full, independent audit of the succession line, something the palace has avoided for centuries. By Harry confirming this, he has stripped away the palace's ability to claim the document is a forgery or a misunderstanding. He has placed William in an impossible position: either submit to an investigation that could reveal decades of hidden family secrets, or proceed with a coronation that half the world will view as legally shaky and morally void. This isn't just a family feud, it's a structural collapse. When the blood of the mother and the will of the father align against the protocol of the state usually loses. Harry's 94-second statement was the trigger, but Diana's 1996 ghost is the one holding the smoking gun. The monarchy is finding out that you can freeze bank accounts and you can strip titles, but you cannot freeze a prophecy that was written in the blood of its most beloved figure. As we move deeper into this discovery, the question isn't just will William be king, but what kind of king can survive a truth this devastating. London, the 22nd of January 2026. As we dig deeper into the shadows of King Charles's hidden will, a name unexpectedly rises from the darkest corners of the world's most ancient archives: the Vatican. You aren't just looking at a routine family inheritance dispute, you are witnessing the resurrection of sealed records from 1997, a time when the monarchy believed they had buried their secrets forever. Prince Harry, in a staggering 94-second statement, has now confirmed that his father left behind more than just financial instructions. He left a moral indictment regarding the secrets Meghan Markle allegedly withheld before she ever stepped foot into the palace. This secret isn't held in London. It is anchored in the secret archives of the Holy See. According to intelligence sources confirmed by Harry, Charles's hidden will contains a direct reference to a 1997 annulment record involving Meghan Markle's brief private marriage to Joe Giuliano. This is the flashpoint that Buckingham Palace has spent nearly a decade trying to extinguish. Harry has confirmed that King Charles, in his final months of deep reflection, held evidence of a hidden history and a lack of transparency in Meghan's premarital disclosures. This truth doesn't just destabilize the House of Sussex. It makes Prince William's upcoming coronation feel more shaky than ever, as it poses a terrifying question. Why did the palace allow a royal marriage to proceed based on a systematic deception? Harry's confirmation acts like a surgical strike against the institution he once called home. He isn't just telling his story. He is acting as the executor of Charles's final wish to expose the hypocrisy of the men in grey suits. The Vatican stamp within the will suggests that the late king lived his final days in a state of internal war, torn between protecting the reputation of the crown and his duty to the absolute truth. For the audience, this is no longer tabloid gossip. This is a spiritual and legal audit of the House of Windsor. Prince William, standing on the threshold of ultimate power, now finds himself in a dramatic and impossible dilemma. If he proceeds with the coronation without addressing the clauses in this hidden will, he begins his reign under a permanent cloud of suspicion regarding legitimacy and honesty. Harry has made it clear. Diana was right to fear a monarchy built on covered-up shadows. This battle is no longer between two brothers. It is a battle to see if the crown can survive when its most devastating secrets are dragged into the light of the truth from Rome. As the Vatican seals are broken, the palace's silence is no longer a strategy. It is a confession. London, the 23rd of January 2026. Behind the thick, historic walls of Kensington Palace, the atmosphere has shifted from calculated management to outright alarm. You don't just lose a king's final legal directive unless the truth within it is capable of bringing the entire house down. The men in grey suits, the powerful courtiers who have pulled the strings of the British monarchy for centuries, are now facing a nightmare they cannot spin. Prince William, the man born to be king, finds himself trapped between the absolute loyalty demanded by the palace machine and the legal landmine left by his own father. Sources close to the Royal Trust Committee revealed that the hidden will contains a specific activation of what is known internally as Clause Regent 14. This is a dormant legal trigger that requires the Archbishop of Canterbury to verify the moral and lineal integrity of the successor before the crown can touch their head. For the public, the coronation is a ceremony of pageantry. For the legal architects of the Windsor line, it is a contract. Harry has confirmed that Charles intentionally reactivated this clause because he realized the palace's secrecy had become a cancer to the institution's survival. The grey suits are reportedly pushing William to ignore the codicil, claiming it was written during a period of Charles's diminished capacity or emotional distress. But Harry's 94-second statement has destroyed that defense. By Harry testifying to the king's clarity and intent, he has made it impossible for the palace to bury the document without appearing like they are staging a constitutional coup. You can see the weight of this on William's face in every rare public appearance. The stoic mask of the future king is beginning to show the cracks of a man who knows his legacy is being built on a shaky foundation. This is the ultimate test of survival. Diana always warned that the palace would sacrifice its own children to protect the idea of the monarchy. Now, William is being asked to choose. Does he protect the secret to save the coronation, or does he follow the truth and risk the end of the Windsor line as we know it? The palace machine is running out of options, and as the countdown to the ceremony continues, the hidden will remains a silent, ticking clock. If the coronation proceeds under a cloud of legal doubt, it won't be a celebration of a new era. It will be the beginning of a long, painful reckoning. The shadow of 1996 has returned, but this time, the warning isn't coming from a sidelined princess. It is coming from the king himself. Through the mouth of the son they tried to exile. We prepare to look at the shadow evidence mentioned in the will, the physical proof Charles allegedly kept that could change the line of succession forever. London, the 24th of January 2026. We are now entering the most dangerous territory of this unfolding crisis. When we speak of shadow evidence, we aren't talking about hearsay or palace gossip. We are talking about a physical reality that King Charles allegedly secured in a private red dispatch box that never made it back to the government archives. Prince Harry, in his high-stakes confirmation, has pointed to the existence of medical and archival records that Charles kept as a final insurance policy for the truth. This is the evidence that Diana always knew existed, but was too marginalized to access. Now, it has become the nuclear option that could reset the British line of succession. According to deep-level leaks within the Royal Archives, this evidence includes a series of private DNA consultations conducted under the strictest secrecy during the final years of Queen Elizabeth's reign. You have to ask yourself, why would a king keep forensic-level documentation on his own family members? The answer, as Harry suggests, is that Charles realized the palace spin had created a legal fiction that the crown could no longer sustain. This shadow evidence reportedly directly challenges the biological claims of certain heirs, creating a catastrophic void in the legal paperwork required for William's coronation. The weight of this discovery is why the coronation has moved from a certainty to something shaky. In the eyes of the British Constitution, the crown does not belong to the person who wants it most. It belongs to the person who can prove their right to it. If the hidden will contains physical proof that the lineage has been compromised by undisclosed surrogacy or legal irregularities in birth protocols, as long rumored by skeptics, the Archbishop cannot legally proceed with the anointing. Harry has confirmed that Charles's biggest regret was not the scandal itself, but the cowardice of the institution in hiding it. For Prince William, the red dispatch box represents the ghost of a father who, in his final moments, chose his soul over his crown. The Prince of Wales is reportedly infuriated by what he perceives as a post-mortem betrayal, yet he is powerless to stop the legal gears from turning. If Harry releases the specific locations or access codes to these documents, the coronation becomes a crime scene rather than a celebration. The public is beginning to realize that the fairy tale wasn't just a story, it was a shield for a reality so fragile that a single box of papers could shatter it. This is the darkest fear Diana held, that the truth would only come out when it was too late to save the family, only leaving enough time to save the truth. We will examine the Montecito ultimatum, Harry's final demand to William, and how the shadow evidence is being used to negotiate a future that no one saw coming. The mask isn't just slipping, it is being torn off by the very man who once wore the crown. London, the 25th of January 2026. While the palace machines in London are grinding toward a desperate containment strategy, the silence from Montecito has officially transformed into a strategic weapon. You don't just hold on to a red dispatch box of secrets for fun. You use it as the ultimate leverage when the soul of the monarchy is on the line. Prince Harry has now reportedly issued what insiders are calling the Montecito ultimatum, a final, non-negotiable demand addressed directly to Prince William and the Royal Advisory Council. The message is clear: proceed with the coronation under the current cloud of secrecy, and the shadow evidence will be released to the global public, not as a leak, but as a full-scale disclosure. Harry's confirmation of Charles's hidden will has shifted the power dynamic entirely. He is no longer the spare begging for a seat at the table. He is the man holding the keys to the room. The ultimatum demands a sovereign audit, a full, transparent verification of the lineage and the medical records cited in Charles's integrity codicil. Harry is reportedly insisting that if William wants to wear the crown with the moral integrity Charles demanded, he must first prove that the crown hasn't been compromised by the very lies Diana died trying to expose. This is the trigger point for the British public. For the audience watching from America and across the Commonwealth, this feels like the ultimate showdown between institutional survival and absolute truth. Harry has made it known that Charles's deepest regret was leaving his sons a legacy built on sand. By forcing this audit, Harry claims he is fulfilling his father's true die-regent wish to free William from the cage of deception that defined their childhood. But for William, this is a declaration of war. To submit to an audit is to admit that the palace's word is no longer enough. It is to admit that the monarchy has lost the most important asset it possesses, the benefit of the doubt. The gray suits are in a state of paralysis. If they accept the ultimatum, they risk exposing irregularities that could end the Windsor line in a single afternoon. If they reject it, they face a truth bomb from California that will make the 1,992nd scandals look like a rehearsal. Prince Harry has set a deadline. The verification must be initiated before the first rehearsal of the coronation. The hidden will has turned the most sacred ceremony of the British state into a high-stakes negotiation. The focus shifts to the woman at the heart of the original 1996 storm. We reveal the Camilla factor, how the Queen Consort's own private journals, mentioned in the will, have become the final, devastating piece of the puzzle. London, the 26th of January, 2026. As the legal walls close in on Prince William's coronation, we must look at the most unexpected and devastating witness mentioned in King Charles's hidden will, Queen Camilla. You cannot understand the true depth of the Windsor crisis without looking at the woman who stood at the center of the storm for 40 years. Prince Harry has now confirmed that his father's integrity codicil doesn't just rely on medical records, it points directly to a series of private journals kept by Camilla, which Charles allegedly mandated be reviewed as part of the sovereign audit. These journals are described by insiders as the black box of the monarchy, containing the raw, unfiltered truth of Charles's guilt, his regret over Diana, and his deep-seated fear that the institution was fundamentally broken. The Camilla factor changes everything. For years, the palace worked tirelessly to rehabilitate her image, moving her from the other woman to a steady queen consort. But Charles's hidden will suggests that even in his final years, the king was living a double life, one of public duty and another of private remorse. Harry has confirmed that these journals contain detailed entries from 2024 and 2025, where Charles expressed his horror at how the Grey Suits were handling the succession, and his specific instruction that William must not be allowed to inherit the throne until the shadows of the past were fully accounted for. This is the betrayal William never saw coming, that his father's final loyalty wasn't to the future king, but to the memory of the truth Charles had suppressed for decades. This revelation has sent Queen Camilla into a state of total isolation at Mill House. If these journals are subpoenaed or released as part of the legal audit Harry is demanding, the carefully crafted piece of the royal family will be obliterated. Harry has made it clear. His father felt haunted by the way Diana was silenced, and he saw in William's rigid adherence to palace protocol a repeat of the same mistakes. The journals reportedly detail late-night conversations where Charles admitted that the monarchy was operating on a lie. By Harry confirming the existence of these records, he has effectively neutralized Camilla's ability to protect William's image. For the audience, this is the ultimate unmasking. We are no longer talking about a family disagreement. We are talking about a king who used his final legal act to ensure his successor would be forced to be honest. The Camilla factor adds a layer of human tragedy to the constitutional crisis. It shows a man who, at the end of his life, realized that his crown was a gilded cage built on the suffering of those he loved. The palace is facing a total collapse of its narrative. We will examine the succession emergency and the secret meeting between the Archbishop of Canterbury and Prince Harry that has placed the coronation on life support. London, the 27th of January 2026. The British state has officially entered what constitutional experts call a succession emergency. You are no longer watching a family dispute. You are watching the gears of the United Kingdom's unwritten constitution grind to a halt. Behind the ancient, fog-shrouded walls of Lambeth Palace, a meeting has taken place that the palace tried desperately to prevent. Prince Harry, acting as the unexpected executor of King Charles's final conscience, has held a 4-hour secret council with the Archbishop of Canterbury. This is the man who holds the crown, the man who must, by law and God, anoint the next sovereign. But after Harry presented the findings of the hidden will and the shadow evidence, the Archbishop has reportedly placed the coronation on life support. Harry's confirmation of the integrity, codicil, has created a spiritual and legal deadlock. You have to understand the gravity of this. The Archbishop cannot anoint a king if there is a verified legal doubt regarding the lineal integrity of the succession. Harry didn't just bring accusations, he brought the red dispatch box files. He provided the Archbishop with the same shadow evidence that Charles had hidden away. Evidence that suggests the public narrative of the Windsor line has been compromised by decades of institutional concealment. For the Archbishop, this is a crisis of faith and state. If he proceeds with the anointing, while knowing the hidden will exists, he risks the credibility of the Church of England itself. The succession emergency protocol was reportedly triggered at 3:15 a.m., following the Lambeth Palace meeting. This protocol effectively pauses all official state preparations for the coronation until a committee of truth can verify the claims made in the Highgrove discovery. Prince William is said to be isolated and incandescent with rage, viewing the Archbishop's hesitation as a betrayal of the highest order. But the Archbishop's duty is not to William. It is to the Crown as a sacred office. Harry has made it clear. Charles didn't want a king who reigned through shadows. He wanted a king who earned the crown through transparency, a transparency Diana died begging for. For the audience, this is the moment the fairy tale officially ends and the reckoning begins. We are seeing a future king who is technically ready to lead, but legally unable to ascend. The palace machine is trying to frame Harry as a saboteur, but the fact that the Archbishop of Canterbury, the most senior cleric in the land, is taking Harry's evidence seriously tells you everything you need to know. The hidden will isn't a suggestion. It is a legal obstacle that even the king-in-waiting cannot bypass. The world watches a monarchy in a state of suspended animation. The coronation rehearsals have been postponed indefinitely, and the flags at Buckingham Palace seem to hang a little heavier. We will reveal the final disclosure, the ultimate secret contained in Charles's will that explains why he chose Harry to be the whistleblower, and the chilling final sentence that has changed the House of Windsor forever. London, the 28th of January 2026. We have reached the final, devastating hour of this constitutional autopsy. You are witnessing the end of a 1,000-year-old game of shadows. As the coronation of Prince William hangs by a legal thread, we finally come to the final disclosure, the ultimate secret buried in the last paragraph of King Charles's hidden will. Prince Harry has confirmed that this wasn't an act of revenge, but an act of liberation. Why did Charles choose the son he supposedly exiled to be the whistleblower of the century? Because Charles knew that the palace machine would devour William just as it devoured Diana, and he could only trust the son, who had already escaped the cage, to speak the truth from the outside. The final disclosure is a psychological truth bomb. Charles allegedly admitted that the royal birth protocol had been systematically falsified to maintain an illusion of traditional perfection. He revealed that the institution's obsession with purity and optics had led to the concealment of medical realities that legally invalidate the current line of succession. Harry has confirmed that his father's deepest regret was not the lack of love, but the abundance of lies. Charles realized that if the monarchy were to survive the 21st century, it could not do so as a gilded lie. It had to be a human institution, or it had to cease to exist. By making this will, Charles forced William to choose, be a king of truth, or be the last king of a dying fiction. Then, there is the chilling final sentence of the document, a sentence that Harry says has changed the House of Windsor forever. In his own hand, Charles wrote, "The crown is a hollow weight if it is not worn by a man who is first free to be honest with his people. Let the truth destroy the throne if the throne cannot survive the truth." This is the fulfillment of Diana's darkest fear, that the institution would choose the crown over the family until there was nothing left of either. Harry has confirmed that the Diana prophecy is now complete. The fractured crown is no longer a metaphor. It is the current reality of the British state. As the screen fades on this investigation, the world is left with a monarchy in total paralysis. Prince William stands at a crossroads where no king has ever stood. The hidden will has stripped away the pageantry, leaving only the raw, cold bones of a family legacy in ruins. Whether the coronation proceeds or the line of succession is reset, the Windsor era of secrecy is officially dead. The silence of the palace is no longer a shield, it is a tombstone. And as Harry prepares for his final public statement, we are reminded of Diana's words. The truth may be painful, but it is the only thing that can truly set you free.